Okay, the two textures I'm going to show you today are metal and glass. Alright, so let's start with metal. I'm going to be using an old copper pot that I've got here, a French one, and I've already sort of started it. I've got the bottom end here done. Okay, and I've laid out the basic form for this. Alright, and the light source for me, I'm going to say, is coming from this direction. Okay, so I pick and choose the types of reflections and things I'm going to see in this metal after I've given myself the form. So let's start with, I'm going to use, here we go. Introduce you to the barrier method. It's very simple. Keeps you smearing your stuff so much. I'm going to drop one of my reflections in, sort of right in here. I see sort of a reflection there. Metal, really, when you talk about metals, you're talking about contrast. But I'm picking and choosing the best ones that I want to use in a piece. Kind of an arch there, a little bit of a darkness here. And that way they will work with the form, they won't work against it. And there's a bright white in this area, really, that goes all the way down. I'm going to erase that out there. You can always go back in with white Conti if you want to, but I would use that as the very last source of things, okay? I'm going to go ahead and darken up this entire area. But on the edge here, I'm going to go ahead and make it darker so it still looks like it's part of the form of the piece. Make that a little sharper. Get rid of that line. That's what I'm trying to do, is get rid of this harsh line here. I don't like that so much. I'm going to get rid of that and then erase this back in. Here we go. Where's my white pencil? There, my white big eraser. There we go. Be quicker. Then I might pick up this highlight again as it hits this spot right here. It's hitting basically the top of this rounded lip here. And then it's kind of coming down here. But notice I've got to have something down there, so I've got something to contrast it so that it will read. That's why I've got all this charcoal down first. That way it will always, there we go, get this a little straighter here. Read as form, and yet you'll have something to erase against. You've got to have contrast. Clean that up there. You see how that starts to work now? I've got another sort of a darker line in here. This is my barrier method. I move this so I don't smear everything around with my forearm here. What's nice is I can put in a straight line right over the top of that. It's a little harsh for me. I'm going to take that out down there at the bottom. Put the line of the form back in. Maybe I'll put a little bit of a lip contrast under there. Maybe I'll put another bright white highlight right here. And maybe one right over here. And maybe another one right here. I'm going to fade off this time. And then I'm going to have it bring it down here again. See how that works there? But underneath it, we want to put there we go. Now we're starting to read more like metal. Clean that up anyway. Get my white Conti here for speed's sake. You see how that works now? It's starting to work now. I get to choose where I want my highlights and lowlights to go, okay? I might decide to thicken, have this come up. I might decide to have another dark shadow in this area, for example, going to completely dark. Another reflection, a dark reflection, does that make sense? And then have this. See, I never sacrifice the form. It still reads three-dimensionally. I don't like this. I'm going to take this out entirely and shorten this. It reads against the form, in my opinion. Let's take that out. Anyway, okay. That's my metal thing, okay? Contrast, put some medium down, put some media down first, get some charcoal down or pencil or whatever. And be sure you can erase out. Be sure you leave your Conti to the last moment. Now, let's talk about glass. I'm going to use this little short glass here against my bear. Pretend like it's up against his leg here. I don't know if you can see that in the frame. I'll bring him forward a bit here so you can see him a little bit better. I'm going to pretend like I've got, basically with glass, I think the best thing to do is draw what's underneath it and behind it or whatever, and draw it over the top. That especially when you're first starting out with glass and you're going, oh my God, it's glass. Later on, you probably can work it all together, but still, I think this is the easiest way to do it. I'm going to use my pencil eraser as my drawing instrument here, okay? So I'm going to put in my, I'm going to put him in like, sort of like this. So I need to kind of change my viewpoint there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop that first ellipse in. Get this turned around so I can do it properly. There we go. And drawing the second ellipse down here. And you can see it starting to come to shape, or come to form anyway already. Draw that back ellipse in. And what's nice is if you make a mistake, you can just mush out the line and start over again. This is so great about charcoal and erasing this way. Now you pick up the highlights and lowlights that you want in your glass. Well, I know there's a big strong light here, but underneath it is sort of a dark linear element that goes around like this. And then over here we lose that light. Take that out again. There we go. And down here I want a reflection right here. So I erase out how much of I want. I don't have to erase it out fully. I can erase out just partially. Use your kneaded eraser and just lift out if you want to leave the drawing underneath it. You see how that works? And then take your vine charcoal if you see a dark spot, like right in this area, and just carefully overlay the drawing that's there already. You can put in more of your fuzzy bits underneath it. There we go. Let's add a little bit more darkness here. Then I want that sharper, stronger contrast maybe here. And then I want to have a strong contrast right here underneath the, there's a dark line right here. There's a dark line from my viewpoint. And then right over the top, get that cleaned off. Pick the barrier over here. Sometimes the glass disappears, like in this area here. Sometimes it's quite marked right in this area, kind of dark to light. It's already starting to look like glass. And you can even do it behind it, of course, back here in this area. I'm use my eraser again and say, I see another sort of a highlight, a very mild one, but I do see one in this area. But I don't want to ruin the bear. I still want to see him behind there. So I just use it to lighten it up, that area. You see what I'm doing? Darkness back there. Transparency, transparency. Do you see how that's starting to work now? You can take out what you don't want. I don't recommend you fix your drawing until you're sure. I don't want that to be flippy out there. There we go. See how that works? Now you've already started basically getting your glass. Some parts of this is going to be a little bit more obscured than others. Some parts are going to be a little bit sharper in focus. You get to choose where you put your highlights and lowlights, okay? That's how you do glass, I think. Draw what's behind it first. And like I said, if you make a mistake, you erase it out and you say, I want to start over again. And you can. See how that? It's very nice and very quick. Have a good time with it.